A legacy of intervention. America's history of military engagement. The United States has long been a major player on the world stage, and its foreign policy is inextricably linked to its military might. From westward expansion to global superpower, the U.S. has frequently used military force to achieve its objectives. This has led to a complex and often controversial legacy, with interventions from Tripoli to Vietnam. Understanding this history is crucial to grasping America's motivations in global conflicts. The U.S. often justifies interventions to protect national interests and promote democracy. Critics argue these actions are driven by self-serving motives, such as securing resources and containing rival powers. Whatever the motivations, the U.S. has shaped the global order through its military engagements. These interventions have had far-reaching consequences and continue to shape the geopolitical landscape today. The weight of superpower status, global responsibilities, and national security. The end of World War II saw the United States emerge as a global superpower, wielding unmatched military and economic might. With this newfound power came a sense of responsibility, a belief that America had a duty to shape the world order and safeguard its interests. This sense of responsibility, coupled with the perceived threat of Soviet communism, led to the adoption of a foreign policy rooted in containment and, at times, direct military intervention. The domino theory, which posited that the fall of one nation to communism would inevitably lead to the fall of others, became a guiding principle of United States foreign policy during the Cold War. This theory was used to justify interventions in Korea, Vietnam, and elsewhere as the United States sought to prevent the spread of communist ideology. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked the end of the Cold War, but the United States did not relinquish its role as global policeman. Instead, it embraced a new set of challenges, from rogue states and terrorist organizations to the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. The United States continues to view the world through the lens of national security, often prioritizing military solutions to complex geopolitical problems. This approach has led to interventions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya, with varying degrees of success. Ghosts of wars past, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and the specter of communism. The Vietnam War stands as a stark reminder of the costs and complexities of military intervention. What began as an effort to support a fledgling South Vietnamese government against communist North Vietnam escalated into a protracted and bloody conflict that deeply divided the American public and left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. The United States' involvement in Afghanistan, spanning over 2 decades, offers another sobering example of the challenges of nation-building and the limits of military power. The initial intervention, launched in response to the September 11th attacks, aimed to dismantle al-Qaeda and topple the Taliban regime. However, the United States found itself drawn into a protracted conflict against a resilient insurgency, struggling to establish a stable and democratic government. Both the Vietnam and Afghanistan wars highlight the difficulties of achieving clear-cut victories in complex conflicts, particularly in countries with long histories of internal strife and external interference. These interventions also underscore the unintended consequences of military action, from civilian casualties and refugee crises to the destabilization of entire regions. The legacy of these wars continues to shape United States foreign policy today, fueling debates about the use of military force, the limits of American power, and the responsibility of the United States in a globalized world. The military-industrial complex, fueling the engines of war. While national security concerns and ideological battles often dominate the narrative surrounding United States military interventions, it's crucial to acknowledge the significant role played by economic interests. The vast military-industrial complex, a term coined by President Eisenhower, exerts considerable influence on United States foreign policy, often pushing for policies that prioritize military solutions and perpetuate a state of perpetual war. This complex web of relationships between the government, the military, and defense contractors creates a powerful feedback loop. Defense contractors lobby for increased military spending, which in turn leads to the development and production of more advanced and expensive weaponry. This constant demand for new military technology and the jobs it provides creates a vested interest in maintaining a state of heightened military preparedness, even in the absence of imminent threats. This cycle is further fueled by the revolving door between the Pentagon and the defense industry, with former military officials often taking up lucrative positions in defense companies after leaving government service. This creates a cozy relationship between the two entities, blurring the lines between public service and private profit.